Hi there, and welcome back to the Unforgettable Brand Bootcamp. So this is our workshop 2 in our series. So we started on Monday with workshop 1, the secret to design an unforgettable brand. Then we had our coaching call yesterday with our all-day Q&A. And today it's workshop 2, create a brand that attracts and converts the right audience for you. Now tomorrow we will have Q&A all day again inside the Facebook group and of course our bonus coaching call. And then Friday it's the final workshop, workshop number 3, your CTFO brand plan. So just a quick reminder before we get started, there is a chance to win full access to Brand and Launch plus a private brand consult with myself, which is a total prize value of about £1,597 because everything's got a 7 on the end, doesn't it? And you will find out a little bit more about what you need to do to access and be in a chance with winning this prize towards the end of the workshop. So stick around to find out if you want to have access to being able to win this. So if you've got any questions, pop them in the Facebook group. Make a note of them as we go throughout this workshop, and then any cues that you've still got at the end of the workshop, come on over and drop them into the Q&A thread in the Facebook group, and I will be along tomorrow to answer all of your questions. So workshop 2. How to create a brand that attracts and converts the right audience for your offers. So today we are going to talk about becoming the face in your business and what that really means, especially if you don't actually want to be the face of your business. The 2 things that you must get clear on before you get started with your brand, and why it's all about you and absolutely nothing to do with you. So first up, a quick reminder of who this lady in the picture is, hiding behind the cup of coffee, and that's me, of course. I'm Dee Woodward, and I'm a brand designer and visual strategist, but you should also see that I am a disobedient independent entrepreneur, who can't speak properly. I am a disobedient internet entrepreneur. It's quite a mouthful when you try and say it quickly. A writer and a cheerleader for unemployable creatives who just happen to be making their own rules in business and life. And of course, by just happen to be, I mean working their nuts off on their own terms in a way that no one could stop them, not even for all the gin in England. And so the past decade or so, and a bit more, I suppose, I have been studying the psychology of design, the psychology of visual personalities in your business, branding, and you. Because, yes, I have been studying you. As it turns out, it's all about you and absolutely nothing to do with you. And that complex conundrum is exactly what my work at By Design and through Brand and Launch is all about. Now, I'm also a coffee obsessive, which is why you'll see me most of the time with a coffee cup in my hand, and I'm barista trained, which is very different to being a barrister trained, but I'll leave you to decide what's more impressive with that one. And finally, I am a mum to 2 new little tinkers who are almost 3 and 1 are the reason for my very much quickening development of grey hairs this past few years, and also why my business, as I've built it today, runs with me working just 2 half days a week. And if I can do it, then you absolutely can too. Now, I've said this before, and I will say it again and again. Who you are is more important than what you know. But somewhere along the way, we lost sight of this message. And that's why today we are going to dig deeper into what that really means and how embracing this truth will really help you create a brand that attracts and converts the right audience for your offers. So, what does this even mean, Dee? I mean, what do I mean when I say create a brand that attracts and converts the right audience for your offers? So when it comes to designing your brand, you get to take control over the who and the what and the how. And if you haven't done this already, then your brand is doing it behind your back, which it can be catastrophic for business. And this is where most people go wrong. Now, they focus on client attraction methods that are more push than pull. They're pushing their stuff onto their audience rather than presenting a brand that pulls their audience towards them, without the hustle or the scaremongering or all of that kind of, buy this now, it'll change your life forever, but there's only limited availability, even though it's all digital. I mean, I know those things work to get sales. in that moment, but for building a long-term business, for creating a brand that could outlive you and your hard sales tactics, you need a different approach. Now, I'm not saying there isn't a place for hustle, and sales are, of course, a big part of what makes a brand unforgettable, because, nothing makes you forget a brand quicker than a disappearing business due to lack of sales. But if you want to create the kind of business that people instinctively think of when they think of what you do, if you want a brand that is really unforgettable in the minds of your perfect customers, then you need to start from a place of connection, of building real, inspiring human connection with people, from a place of genuine interest and desire to help people through what it is that you do, whatever it is that you do. When someone is completely in love with what they do, you just can't help but feel that same level of connection through them. Now, you might have noticed this when talking face to face or, in real life or on screen. The most seemingly boring of subjects can become so very inspiring when the person who talks about it is just so full of awe and passion, and you can't help but be moved and inspired to find yourself wanting to know more through that person. Now, that's what we want to create with your brand, and that's how you attract and convert the right audiences for your offer. By being the face in your business. By being the kind of person your perfect customers want to listen to for hours, the kind of person that makes them want to be around you and learn from you and buy everything that you offer. Being the face in your brand, now it doesn't mean that you have to be the actual face. I mean, you can absolutely create this same perception of face without ever showing your real face. The face in your brand is really your personality, your character, your story, translated into a visual language that your perfect customers can connect to in an instant. But how? How do you become the face? Well, that is where the CTFO process comes into play, and really that's where the CTFO process is at its best. But more on each of those coming in workshop 3. But for today, we are going to get started on the very first steps to making this happen. So my goal for you for this workshop is that even without anything else, you can go and make these changes to your brand and start seeing a difference. Now, if you're currently not attracting the right people to your brand, it's because you haven't yet given the time to getting clarity on these 2 things. You and them. So when it comes to attracting and converting the right audience for your offers, there are 2 stages that you have to go through before you can even think about designing a sales page or putting an offer together or, sharing that blog post in hope that someone somewhere might just go, "Oh, that's for me." I mean, that stuff will all come. There is a whole world of marketing out there that is just waiting for your brand to come and join in the fun. But first you have to get clear on you, who you are, what you really believe and what you want to be known for, and then get clear on them, the kind of client that you want. Really clear, not some half-assed kind of avatar form that you might have filled in once when that was trendy, but clear like a best mate kind of clear, or a legitimate stalking type of clear, which should not be confused with the kind of stalking that you see in You if you've watched that on Netflix. I only just watched that the other day, so I completely digress here. But legitimate stalking is something that you can do for your brand at any time. Now, more on that in a minute. So let's start digging into these 2 things right now. So how do we get clear on you? Well, we made a start on this yesterday with the importance of who you are over what you know, and we are not done on that yet. Oh no. Like a dog with a bone, I am back on it for this workshop, except this time we're going to go a bit deeper. So in workshop 1, we started looking at who you are on the surface, how you spend your days, really gave us an insight into what you like to do. And the selfie challenge gave us a visual peek into the world of you. And then, of course, the hunt for contrast. Well, that's where we got to dig a little further along into that thing that you may have been used to hiding, which is your personality. So I hope you've come armed with those. If you haven't, you might want to go back to workshop 1 and play catch up. You can still join in with me here, but you're going to want to start at the start with this process. And yep, for all my creative designer exterior, I am a strategic planner on the inside. So there is absolutely a process to go through here. So picking up where we left off yesterday, let's get super clear on you. Who are you? What do you really believe? And what do you want to be known for? Now, Those are three seemingly simple questions, but they pack a punch when it comes to understanding what it is that will get your customers wanting to work with you. Because, and who knows what I'm about to say here, go ahead and tell me in the comments. I will give you a moment to see if you can guess what I'm about to say. Who you are is more important than what you know. I am going to start flashing this slide up every now and then until you are screaming it back at me in the comments all the time. But those three seemingly simple questions, who you are, what do you really believe, and what do you want to be known for, they will shape the structure of your brand, and they will carve a person-shaped space for the kind of person who will want to work with you. And that's the kind of person we want to design our brand to attract. The ones who would fall in love with us effortlessly just the way we are. Now, I know it's a bit of a looping process here, and I can see that it's an odd one to get your head around sometimes because we are so used to the idea of finding customers and serving them rather than letting customers find us. So think of this step in your branding process as the self-selecting customer. They find you, they decide they want to work with you without having to do any sales pitching and convincing customers that what you've got is what they need, because they know it already. They know you're the kind of person they want to work with. They love what you do and how you do it, and so they know they have complete faith that you are right for them. Sounds pretty perfect, right? And it is all possible when you take the time to design your brand in a way that allows this to happen. And that all starts with you. So let's get cracking and start answering those three little questions that will help design your unforgettable brand. Who are you? So we started this in workshop 1. So go back and look through your work and pull out 8 words that sum you up. Now they could be words, or they could be phrases or contrasts, anything that came up from the work that you were doing in workshop 1. No overthinking again here, please. So, for example, when you read through your daily activities, are there any phrases that really connect to who you are? Like the idea that perhaps you are minimum effort for maximum results. So that would be a phrase that I would have pulled out from what I recognised in my day as being a value I hold highly. Or maybe it's from the photos that you looked at. Perhaps you noticed that you're attracted and happiest in a really light open space, or when you're out walking in the woods, or from your work on contrasts. Maybe you notice that you're always wearing that crazy bold elaborate jewellery with plain Jane simple t-shirts. These are all examples of the kind of things that we're looking for that give us a clear look into who you are, that we can use to build your unforgettable brand on. Because creating an unforgettable brand really just means creating that I like you already feeling. It's an instant connection with your audience, like you've been friends forever without you ever having met. So what do you believe? Take a moment to let your mind wander through your own brand story. All the events and happenings that got you to where you are today. That story makes up your life, but more specifically, the story makes up your brand. So if you're going to turn your life story into a movie where the plot twist was the unforgettable brand that you have created, what are the events that make the cut? Think about all the things that you have been through and why you do the work that you do. Were there any big moments in your life that helped shape the way that things are now? What's your world view? What do you really believe to be true in business and in life? And I know it's a bit deep, right? But let's take this as a kind of mini movie role, or maybe it's the beginning of a TED talk for your business. So think about these things. What was life like before you started your business? What was that moment that made you start your business? And why did you start it? Was there an outside force to this, or an internal overwhelming desire? Did you know something that you just couldn't hide any longer? Why did you really get started? And what were the challenges you overcame? What changed along the way, and why? And how do things look now? What and why do you love what you do? So spend some time going through these questions today. Take as much time as you need, but not a moment longer. So no overthinking. And when you've answered all the questions, you will have the making of your brand story. It's as simple as that, really. From this story, you can turn it into a brand bio, or you can use it on your about page content, or you can use it to inspire all of your future brand copy. Because this is you, speaking your story in your own language. And that is how you make your brand voice unforgettable, by using your own. with all its quirks and typos and swear words, or, in all its grammatically correct pleasure, whichever way you would write to yourself is the way that you want to write for your brand. Because after your face, it's your voice that people want to hear. And that voice is something we have spent so many years being taught to kind of self-edit. So it will take some practice to let it out on its own again. But when you do, you will start to see a real difference in the connections that you make, especially in the online space. And finally, what do you want to be known for? What's your gut reaction to this question? I really find this question interesting. Now, a lot of people, may have an instant response by now, which is great. That means, I'm cracking you already. But a few of you may still be struggling with the kind of I'm not sure response. And you may still be suffering with the whole kind of giving a shit-itis, where you kind of care too much what other people think, and that really just stops you from saying what you want to say. So, let's practice just saying whatever we want for a minute. I want to be seen. I want to be heard. I want to be valued. I want to be loved. Now, those are all simple, basic wants that somehow we kind of feel a little bit weird admitting to. So share some more of those in the comments with me. It's really good to let them out. I'll give you a second while I take a quick sip of water. So excuse me a second. Okay, so now that we have had a go at wanting stuff, tell me, what do you want to be known for? Pop it in the comments, or, squirrel it down in your notebook, and let's just think about what that really looks like for a minute. And if you're still struggling, then try this. Grab a piece of paper and write 4 headings: love, like, can do, and hate. And then start to list out all the things you do right now in business under those categories. Ideally, you'll have a couple of things in the love category that you can use to kind of inspire you when it comes to, thinking about what you want to be known for. Because in a funny way, we tend to really love doing. Oh, I've scrolled through the... There we go, I'll scroll back. We tend to love doing the things that we actually really want to be known for. So you might not spend most of your time at the moment doing them right now, but we can work on eliminating the can do and the hate categories at a later date. So for now, pick one, try it on. Does it feel like the kind of thing that you want to be known for? Or has it sparked you to admit that what it is that you really want people to turn to their friends and say, oh hey, this is Dee, and she helps people brand and launch their own kind of unforgettable. And that right there is how you create your brand one-liner. So try it with me. Oh hey, this is, insert your name, and she helps people, insert whatever it is that you want to be known for. It's simple, right? Now, I did tell you I like things to be quick and simple. So next up, we need to get clear on them. So you've got to get really clear on the kind of client that you want. And this is where I mean really clear. I am not talking about some kind of half-assed avatar that you may have filled out once ago. I remember the time when that was a really trendy thing to do. But we are talking about getting really clear on the kind of client you want, as if they were your absolute best friend. So the easiest way that I know how to do this is think about your most favourite customer. So a real life customer that you have experience working with. And that's the most important bit. They have to be real. They can't be some fake persona or an avatar. You need to be able to draw from your real life experiences, even if it wasn't all good. Because knowing what you hate in a customer is just as important as what you love. So take a moment and think about that perfect customer, the one who, just got you, that made everything seem simple and easy, and, heck, you might have actually wanted to call a friend. See what I did there? I've come back round to that little thing called connection. When thinking about your favourite customer experience, you most likely remember that person like a friend, that the experience felt relaxed and comfortable and respectful, like a good friendship should. And you know what? If you can find one person like this, you can find 1,000 or, however many customers you need. It's a bit like spotting cars, when you start thinking about a car, you see them everywhere. The more you think about what you want to see in a customer, the more you will see those customers around you. And again, it's a bit woo. But this is where the stuff works, and there's no need for, vision boards or music boards or anything like that. But when you put your focus in understanding what makes the perfect customer for you, you will be able to better spot those customers around you and better call them in to work with you. You'll be able to position yourself in a way that naturally attracts those people, because just the way that you would when you are, walk into a room full of people and you instantly make a connection with a friend and you're going to be friends. There's some things that you are just drawn to, and when you understand who you are and you understand why you like the customers that you like, that's how you can make the connection between those two things, and that's what your brand is really all about, connecting you to your customers. So take a minute today. I'm going to have to take another sip of water, I'm really sorry. Take a minute today and start to describe that favourite client. And write it down in as much detail as you can, and then do the same for your worst client. And as if by magic, we now have some real life people to build our brand towards. So keep these descriptions near you, and every time you create something, imagine presenting it to these people. Will they get it? What would the conversation sound like? What would it look like? What would it feel like? This is all fuel for your unforgettable brand. Now, when it comes to sharing your brand message online, write it like a conversation with your favourite client. And now for some legitimate stalking. So you now know who your favourite client was. So go and take a look through their social platforms. Go dig in for things that they are looking for, questions that they are asking, people and places they're connecting with, and stash this in your stuff to know about my favourite clients file. Okay, I take it that does sound way more stalkerish than it should, but hopefully you get where I am going here. Because there are clues all around us that will help us to shape the kind of brand that attracts and connects the right audience for our offers. We just have to know where to look. And that starts with you. Always you. But while it is all about you, it is also nothing to do with you and everything to do with your perfect customers. How they see you, how you can best show up for them in a way that makes it easy and fun for them to connect with you. Now, this seemed like a really great quote for us to draw an end to this workshop on. So no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. I thought that was a really nice one. So, okay, we went a bit deep today, and I am sure that you have questions, so please do pop them over in the Q&A thread and join me live tomorrow for our Q&A coaching call. I am yours all week this week, so please do ask for support where you need it, and let's crack this thing called branding together. So to recap, today we talked about the importance of building your brand on you first. Understanding that who you are is more important than what you know, and yes, I will keep repeating that. That people want to connect with people, not personas, and building your brand on your real life personality is the fastest way to do this. Becoming the face in your brand doesn't mean that you actually have to show your face if you don't want to, and how it's all about you and absolutely also nothing to do with you. So over to you. Let's get cracking, and come and find me in the Facebook group if you need any extra support at all. And of course, final note is competition time, because what is a bootcamp without a bit of friendly competition? And this one comes with the promise of a private brand and launch consult with me at the very end. Now, I want to celebrate you showing up and doing the work throughout this bootcamp. So when you show up, when you do the work, when you share your biggest takeaway from each workshop on your social media platforms using the hashtag unforgettable brand, you will be entered into a prize draw to win a private brand and launch consult, plus get access to Brand and Launch, which is my signature brand program. Now, I know there were a couple of questions about how to go about doing this, and it really is just as simple as sharing your biggest takeaway from today, sharing your biggest takeaway from the first workshop, and sharing your biggest takeaway from the workshop that will come. So there's just 3 kind of takeaways that you would want to share with people you know, and I want you to post those on your own social media platforms. And the reason is twofold. Of course, I want to get unforgettable brand, the hashtag, in front of as many people as possible. So by sharing it on your platforms, that helps to get the message out there. But also, it helps you to start to put a line in the sand, a marker on the social media platform, as it were, that you are working on your own unforgettable brand. And things start to change when you put that little marker out there and you make it kind of aware, the world aware, that you are up to something. And it's going to be unforgettable. So I will leave you with that. And of course, you know where to find me. I will be in the Facebook group. And I will look forward to catching up with you on the Q&A call. And then, of course, for our final workshop on Friday.